Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on BMC Helix Observability and AIOps. This session today is about one company's transformation to AIOps. This is part of our webinar series. We run these once a month in AIOps. A couple of reminders before we get started. We do have the Q&A section of Zoom, which you'll find at the bottom. If you've got any questions during the session, because we've got quite a lot to cover today, please put them in the Q&A and we will have some time at the end to answer those questions. And we will also try to answer them during the presentation and the slides as well. We are running this as a series, so we do have 2 other sessions coming up. We have another one mid-August, which will be another session around Helix platform, and that's with our solutions engineering. And then we also have a session in September, which will be good events driving good decisions. All those details can be found on one of our latest slides and the webinar page. So let's get started. So firstly, let's just do a quick introduction for everyone. So firstly, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a senior program manager at BMC. Most of my role and work involves setting up webinars, co-hosting, and also getting content out, self-solve, and videos to help our customers and partners. I'm now going to just introduce quickly my co-host, Yaron Front. For those that are probably familiar with anything AIOps, Yaron works as a product director and is focusing on the AIOps part, AIOps and observability. And then I'm going to hand over to Shai to do an introduction from our partner, Matrix. Over to you, Shai.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samantha. So my name is Shai Ovadia. I'm the CTO of Matrix. I will introduce the company in a short while. So I'm CTO for the BMC division in Matrix and also managing an excellence center that is focusing on AIOps and ITSM and automation.
Thank you, Shai. And then over to another Yaron. So not to be confused, Yaron Nativ, if you can introduce yourself.
So my name is Yaron Nativ. I'm program manager for Observability, AIOps, and automation of experience in a wide variety of positions in the field of monitoring and manager systems. And I have been working with Shai actually at the Matrix for about 10 years.
Thank you for the introduction, and we're super excited to have you. So I'm just going to hand back over to Yaron just to do a little bit of a brief and abstract of what's going to be covered today and to start the process. So Yaron, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sam, and thanks to everybody who could join us today. So today's session is going to be a little different than some of the things that we've done in the past. Our goal today is to tell you a story. And this story is going to be about one of the success stories that we've had working with a customer who has really made a significant transition from the old monitoring world into observability and AIOps. And we have the 2 guests with us today. We have Shai and Yaron, the other Yaron, from Matrix. And they were the implementation partner. So they're probably best positioned to really bring you in and tell you the story about, real life experience about what it actually means to do a transformation to AIOps, the whole modernization, the efficiency, the new tools, the value that you get out of it, but also the different steps along the way. So we're going to discuss all that today. It's also going to be a little bit of a Q&A. So, Shai and Yaron and myself have been working together for a while. Matrix is a premier partner for BMC, which means that we work very closely together and we implement projects together. And with that, we can kick it off. So let's start. So like I said, we're going to do this kind of interactive as questions and answers. So I think the first thing is, like Shai said before, is maybe Shai, you can tell us a little bit about Matrix and your relationship with BMC. I know you've got a couple of slides about that, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Yaron. So just a few words about the company that I work for the past over 25 years. So Matrix is an Israeli-based company. It's actually a global company, but it's operating mostly in Israel. Quite a large company, over 11,000 employees at work. We are a public company, so we are traded in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange with thousands of customers, mostly in Israel. 80% of our businesses in Israel, but we still work a lot also globally, mostly in the US and Europe, but we also have projects in Africa, Australia, South America, and more. So it's a big company that moves very fast. We're doing different areas of operation, and one of them is BMC. I will introduce that very shortly. But even though it's a very large company, it knows how to move very, very fast, and we're actually the leading company in Israel in 47 different areas of technology and categories, as per a local analyst, which the leading local analyst called STKI, was previously called Meta Group. So this is just a little bit about the company, but let's talk about a little bit more about our partnership with BMC. So as I said, I'm working over 25 years in Matrix. All of those years, I was actually in a partnership. I was part of the partnership with BMC. I'm part of the Matrix BMC division in Matrix. So it's a partnership that was established back in 1993. As Yaron mentioned, we are an elite partner. And about 4 years ago, we also acquired RightStar, that maybe some of you are familiar with, who is doing the same business in the US. RightStar is also an elite partner of BMC since 2005, if I'm not wrong. So Matrix is a one-stop shop company where reseller of BMC solution in Israel, L1 support center, providing different consulting services. Most of our team, and we have over 100 experts in Israel and in the US, most of them are BMC certified in different areas. We have huge amount of best practices that we've developed over the years that we're sharing with customers, and that led us, I think, to the success in the customer that I'm going to share with you. We are focusing on different areas, so we do everything that BMC is selling. We actually do that. I would not confuse you guys with the acronyms. So we are doing digital service and operation management, which is Helix platform. We are operating in the mainframe areas, what BMC is called IZOT, and also we are doing a lot of business in Control M. So in Israel, we have over 100 customers. Most of them would be part of the largest companies in Israel. In the US, we have about 200 companies that we work with. Once again, it's large companies, but not necessarily only huge companies. We also work with companies that have hundreds of servers that they wish to manage or to provide better service on. And I'm glad to say that we also won Partner of the Year for Digital Service and Operation Management in FY24. We were granted this award about 3 months ago. So this is just about a little bit about us and some name drops that we're allowed to share. I will tell you that, by the way, the customer I'm going to talk about is not part of this list. The list is longer than this. But as said, most of the companies, maybe you would not know them, but Amdocs is a global company, well known. 888 Holdings, maybe you know them from some shorts of soccer on football teams in the UK. And banks in Israel, a lot of insurance companies, defense customers, retailers, etc., government, obviously, and more and more. So back to you, Yaron. This is
okay. Thanks.
About us.
Thanks, Shai. Yeah, that's just a little bit of background. Just to echo some of what Shai was telling us, and this is what I think may be a good value to what we're going to be talking about and for the rest of this session, is that Matrix has a lot of experience working with BMC products and specifically working with AIOps. So when it comes to best practices and what does it really take to do AIOps correctly, and not only build a project in which you can bring value to your customer through AIOps, but also doing it correctly and quickly. This is one of the things that I think that today's session is going to really highlight. So I think that's a lot of value. So if we focus in, go ahead.
Just another few words about the partnership in general. Over 31 years actually of working with BMC for Matrix, and for me it's over 25 years. I can say just a few words. So BMC is a giant company, and at the same time, our experience of working with BMC is I think is phenomenal. Especially I think since BMC made the move to Helix and SaaS solutions. So we actually became a design partner for BMC through one of the projects. And I think that one of the great things that I see and feel, and we get the same feedback from customers, but we feel that personally in Matrix, is the fact that BMC on the one end is a giant ship, and on the other end, they move very, very fast. They know how to cooperate with us as a partner and support us. And I will also put here a name drop. It's your own front, it's yourself that is assisting us a lot. As part of the design partnership, we managed to do a lot together and put some features that customers really wanted. It's not something that I know from other huge companies that we work with. It's not like that usually, and it's a great thing that BMC is providing to us as a partner, and it goes back to customers.
Thanks, Shai. Yeah, and thanks for the name drop. So let's focus in a little bit about the project that we've been working on and that we want to highlight today. So can you tell us just a little bit about the customer and the project, and maybe we can kind of focus on what were they trying to achieve? I mean, what was the motivation for this company to move to AIOps and modernize into AIOps? Maybe talk about a little bit of the challenges that they had before that they were trying to fix. So kind of where the pain came from and how did those pains negatively impact their business?
Absolutely. So I call it when observability and AIOps met healthcare, because our company is in the area of the healthcare. And so just a few, words of background about the company itself. So it's a large healthcare services provider in Israel, about 3 million members, that are providing a very wide variety of healthcare services. So it goes, from public and private hospitals through I forgot the word for that, but different, really huge variety. So they work with the community on the one hand, and at the same time, they have, I think, something like 300 or 400 branches all over the country.
So points of care, right?
It's points of care. Yeah, it might include that in some cases. Some of them would be hosting something like 150 different doctors and people that are providing services.
So really distributed kind of organization.
Yeah, and very. I think it's not just one kind of a service that they're providing. So it could be dentists on the one hand, hospital, surgery, and natural medicine, or I forgot the word for that in English. Sorry for that.
Alternative medicine.
Exactly. Alternative medicine. Sorry. So thank you, Aaron. But I think that the key thing that is happening with this customer is that they are a very innovative company, really, truly very innovative company. They are focusing a lot on telehealth, which means to provide more services remotely through mobile. They're investing a lot in digitalization of their services. And for them, availability and good service means more than money. It's not just about money. Eventually, this company is really not about money, because they're getting paid by the government. So they don't really care about about profit. They're a non-profit organization. So for them, availability means really more than money. It could mean health of people or even life and death when it comes to a very wide variety of services that they're providing. So when it comes to them, availability was always a big issue. But even though they really wanted to be better in availability, better in service, I can tell you that 3 different CIOs changed over the past something like 6 to 7 years, I would say. And all of them realized that they have a problem. But none of them was, let's say, courageous enough or had enough adrenaline to go into so many projects and put this as
they didn't have
a priority.
They didn't have the foresight. They didn't have the vision, right?
I would definitely say that, yeah. And I think that the big change happened in 2023 when a new VP Technologies, it's not a CIO, he's actually he's member of the board, and he came in, and he's a guy on turbo. I mean, this guy really came in, and he came and said, I mean, one of the first things, he came to the IT people and said, okay, where is my observability dashboard? Where can I see what is the status of my business services? Because I'm getting phone calls day in, day out, morning and evening, sometimes during the weekends, from doctors and hospital managers saying that these services are not working for me. So where can I see what's working and what's not? And the answer was that we really want to have this kind of solution, but we don't have it yet. And no one was, as I said, wasn't there to have the vision to actually take it forward. And when we realized this, he said, okay, so we need to make a change because we have a whole sort of different challenges. We have limited observability. This limited observability eventually impacts end user satisfaction. And once again, satisfaction is availability. It could be a matter of better service and sometimes life and death. I can tell you that over the years, they threw on this problem a huge amount of different monitoring solutions. They were using Micro Focus, Dynatrace, SolarWinds, and so many more different solutions for automation, etc. But then again, it was a whole wide range of different modules integrated into one manager of managers. It was still not enough. None of this was business service centric. On top of that, everything was on-prem. And as I would show you in one of the next few slides, this new VP of technology said, I don't want to have it on-prem because upgrades are too complex. Monitoring systems tend to be, they're all over the place. So upgrading this gigantic system just once a year or once every 2 years is too slow for me. And even then it's too complex for me. On top of that, their time to isolate the root cause was too long. Their time to recover from issues was too long. And I would tell you that, infracentric is something that this VP of technology said, not in my organization. I want to be business centric. I want to know exactly when I'm getting phone calls, no one will tell me that server ABC is not working. People will tell me that they are unable to get prescription and this specific system is not working. So this is what he wanted to have, a service-centric, a business service-centric kind of a solution. And eventually, all of this is going to serve them better in innovating faster. Because this VP of technology said, look, I'm not willing to innovate fast, but not have the operation to support it. So long mean time to monitor means for them slower innovation. So it was really important for them to be able to monitor faster and do and operate better so they can support more services faster.
So this is really interesting because one of the things that Shai just told us is kind of in line with what some of you may have seen in our previous episodes, meaning that what we see in customers, and I see this every day when I talk to customers and I talk to IT managers, is that they're faced with impacted service levels. It takes them a long time to resolve issues, and once something happens, it may be hours or days before they're able to pinpoint where the problem is and go ahead and fix it. And they also lack the ability to look forward and be able to prevent incidents and improve their efficiency. And that's where AIOps comes in, because really, with some of the of the challenges that Shai was talking about, it really impacts the type of operations. And for this customer, like Shai said, it's about availability. If they give good service, if their services are available, if they're able to provide digital services, it means that they're successful in their business. And they weren't there. And it all started with not having visibility and not having observability, but it also has to do with AIOps, which talks about improving the service reliability and reducing the time to resolution. So go ahead, Shai.
So what happened afterwards? So we realized that these are the challenges that we had, but these were not the only challenges yet. So we had to actually kick off something like 30 projects. We were one of them. And most of them were focusing on digitalization of the organization in different areas and remote healthcare. So engaging, igniting 30 projects is a big deal. But even then, he came to us and said, I am going to come up to you guys with really aggressive deadlines. And I will share some of this with you later on because they might sound a little bit too good to be true. And this kind of CIO, is a great guy on the one hand because he wants everything and he's willing to actually engage and start working on that. But he expects to get more and more and more. Even though we agreed like 2 weeks ago that this would be the end state of what he would be getting, once we got there, I said, no, I meant much more than this. So it's not just the deadlines are aggressive, but even the deliverables are really aggressive. He wants more and more. One of the good things I think that happened in this project that the CIO said, I'm not just another customer. I want to influence the product. I want to become a design partner. And I think that this is where they really realized how strong BMC is in engaging together with customers, listening to customers, and actually changing the product and the roadmap according to things that make sense. And once again, I think it's a fantastic thing. I've never seen that before. Maybe with startups, yes, not with gigantic companies like BMC. Another thing in the strategy was cloud first, which was great for them and great for us because we really prefer to do AIOps and observability in the cloud and enjoy the great value of getting those upgrades coming at you like every month. You don't need to spend any effort whatsoever. Those new features and capabilities just come at you on a monthly basis. It is actually really, really great. And the last point is that they were asking for open observability. So what that means is they said, we fully understand that most probably BMC would be able to monitor a lot of stuff, but then again, we have so many different technologies in-house that we already invested in. We want to make sure that all of the data that we already have would be part of this data lake, this AIOps data lake, that on top of which we will provide the observability. And furthermore, they said that what they're asking is not to see just information coming from monitoring systems. They actually want to have inside business data. So one example would be if I'm looking at a system that is providing a service of generating prescriptions, making sure that the servers are working, database working, application servers are working is not good enough if eventually the service is not working. And what they were asking is to make sure that we also push into the data lake information about how many prescriptions were generated every 5 minutes, and then learn the behavior of that and find automatically anomalies saying that, the system seems to be working fine on the infrastructure level and the application level, but then again, it seems that business is not working fine, and maybe something is not really working because I don't see any prescription getting generated. So this is what he was asking for, and it's really, I think, knowing monitoring for a long time, it sounds, I think, too much. Okay, too much, and especially when it comes to doing that very, very fast with aggressive deadlines. So this is where we have to start with.
Right, and I think a couple of points just to kind of echo what you were talking about, Shai, is that so we were talking about this in previous sessions that any AI that you do, and if you're using AI and you're using machine learning, the quality of your outcomes is going to be driven by the breadth and depth of the information you feed into it. So the more open your platform, the more sources of data you can bring in, like service management data and knowledge articles and events and metrics, and being able to understand logs with things like GPT. The more data you can feed into your AI engine, which is essentially the fuel for AI, the better your outcomes. And in this project, you could really see this because we were able to cater to the customer's need to be able to bring a lot of different disparate types of information. And that's where the open observability or the open platform really made a difference and brought a lot of value to the customer.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the challenges that this customer was facing, but can you, Shai, maybe tell us a little bit? So, with all these objectives and the challenges that they had, what was the plan? So, how did you build a plan for them to address these challenges and bring in AI ops in order to take them to the next level of observability and AI ops?
Yeah. So what we decided to do with the customer, and it's a practice that we do actually in Israel with every large customer that we work with, is before we actually go to the project, we want to make sure that we fully understand what would be, not just the challenges, but what would be the roadmap, the priorities, and what we should echo back, in terms of deliverables back to those who actually decided to buy the product from us. So where we started from was a roadmap that we built with them, and we agreed. I mean, this is, by the way, this is an approach that we actually got from BMC. We really love this idea, and BMC call it and crawl, walk, and run, and we really love the concept of building this kind of a roadmap with them, because it was clear to us that the starting point was that they needed to crawl first. They cannot run yet. They do not have any observability of whatsoever of what is the real status of all their 600 different business services. It's a huge amount of services. They first of all need to make sure that they are operating, and yes or no, even without knowing the root cause yet. Just, does it work? Isn't it working? Who should I, as a CIO, who should I, as an IT manager, who should I, as an application owner, should go to, and when did it start? So this is a very big decision to just provide observability, a very wide observability in terms of all the systems, not necessarily very deep in terms of being able to isolate every root cause at the beginning. And it's a big, big decision. It really changed the way and the approach of the project. And I will discuss it later on, and also Yaron would touch this point with me. So
Yeah,
this is where we started.
One of the interesting things, again, just from what I remember from the beginning of the project, is that one of the requirements that they had was, I want to be able to glance at something and within 5 seconds know exactly what the status is of the services that I, as a CIO in a company, is providing towards the organization. And he actually said it. He said, I want red, yellow, orange, green. I want that, and I want to be able to look and know what's working, what's not working. Do we know about it? What's being done about it? And that was the first step. That's the observability part that we started off with.
So it's exactly like you specified it, John. But I would even go further and say that the idea behind it was not just to provide a service to the CIO. What he had in mind, the VP of Technologies, he said, I want to make sure that this information is fully transparent to everyone in the organization that is using those systems.
Yeah.
Not 3 million subscribers or members, but to all the managers. So, and this is one of the great things that happened. Observability means 600 services to all the management of this health organization, meaning that when you go through the corridors of the different buildings, you would always see the same screen. It would be the observability AIOps screen of BMC Helix showing what is currently the status of the system. It's transparent to everyone. So no one even needs to call, hey, I have a problem here and there. They already know that IT knows of it when it happens. And it's a big decision for them, to be transparent in this level of transparency. But it's not enough, because eventually they also have to go, as I said before, it's not just about observability. Eventually they want to be able to solve problems faster. So the next items on the roadmap include noise reduction, because they have huge amounts of events that they needed to manage. And by the way, they had a manager before us. And it still wasn't enough, because they had so many events in there, and they never fully understood what was the context of those events. What is the impact of these events on my systems? Whether this, critical event is actually a showstopper and it's making me not provide a service, or maybe it's just one of many elements, and I have redundancy for this service. So the next item was about providing service context to everything, and then we like split into two routes and two pivots, and one of them was going, moving to operating better. And this is where we started using anomaly detection. So no more just basing our events on static thresholds, but working with anomaly detection means that the system would learn the behavior. And behavior, as I said before, not necessarily only of how is my server or database operating. No, how are my systems operating on the business side? And then find the correlation between what's happening on my business side and what's happening on my infrastructure, and try to tie those together in order to get faster to the root cause. Okay, so this is where we are actually, we didn't have to work really hard to get that actually, because BMC is doing fantastic work here. I mean, I would maybe show you guys later on the demo how we are using those root cause analysis with situation-based root cause analysis, which is, I think it's fantastic. It's really, we couldn't even think of a better solution for doing this, because we don't need to correlate those events manually like we did so often in so many projects in the past. BMC is actually doing this for us, but we realized that this would happen later in the project. Once again, they first need observability, only then to go to the root cause. And what we're working on right now is to also tie this solution with automation. Okay, so they can respond automatically to some of the events.
The self-healing IT.
Yeah, it's a self-healing IT, but I would go, I know that I would be more than glad to tell you that it's a really self-healing, but for them, they need to walk first and not run. And for them, walking first means it's not fully automated. It's okay. The automation would be operated by an operator, because they want to make sure that this guy fully understands what he's doing. They're not trusting the system at the moment to do full automation. It's just a matter of setup. Once they feel comfortable with this, because they never did this before. Once they feel comfortable and they realize that this operator doesn't really know more than we do automatically in the system based on AI, it's just a matter of configuration. It would happen automatically, fully automated.
Yeah, and with the automation, one of the interesting things that I've seen across many of our customers is that because you have the automation flows, your L2, so the people who are sitting in the NOC, they don't have to call your subject matter experts for every problem that they had, because they get an automation suggested by the AI engine that's telling them, listen, this is the most probable course of action or best action recommendation to go forward, and then they can just click. And what that means is that now their OpEx can go down by up to 30%, because now their NOC operators can fix problems that before used to require involvement in war rooms with subject matter experts that you often find today are sitting in war rooms instead of innovating and doing new projects. So that's a really really interesting goal for the customer.
Exactly. And by the way, the second route that I'm presenting here on the downside, on the lower part of the slide, is actually somewhere that we were even surprised to realize how fast the customer wanted to go there, because they said, okay, if we already have the data inside our AIOps data lake, why don't we use that in order to be more productive on our capacity and optimize the usage of capacity? And I will share later on how it actually fits into our roadmap. But this is the high level roadmap, and in order to make this really happen for the customer, and this is something it may sound a little bit boring sometimes, but what we really did with the customer is, in order to assure that we fully understand what are the challenges and what is the roadmap and what are the critical capabilities, we did with the customer something called CVR. It's collaborative value of review, which means we wanted to make sure that the roadmap that we have in mind and that we got an approval from the VP Technologies is actually something that the entire IT agrees with, and it's actually what the IT needs to provide in order to provide better services. So this collaborative value review, we conducted workshops with the customer, presenting the solution on the one hand, but at the same time, performing some interviews with the customer, collecting data, just making sure that we have the right priorities, and we are confident about what needs to be in place in order for the roadmap to actually work. And we mapped this into 10 different areas. Very surprisingly, point number one was that we need a dynamic service modeling, because otherwise we would be in the same place. We have to have a good discovery solution in place in order to tell us each element, what system is it part of. So as I said before, we're not doing that for 600 business services at day one, but it was clear to us, if we don't have the context of the business service, it wouldn't work. It was clear that we need an observability platform. It was clear that we need something that's service-centric, that can use this service context to do better root cause analysis. It was clear to them, as well as to us, that it would be the right thing to do would be to leverage investment. They had so many different solutions in there. It's not the right thing to replace them, because replacing a network monitoring system, even though it may be financially right for them, but it would take so much time. But the CIO, he said, I want my value now. I'm not going to wait for you to replace the engines behind the scenes. I want to leverage what I have today. And replacement, yeah, you can do that later on. And we needed AI and ML. We needed anomaly detection. We needed an open telemetry information to be pushed in, or business data to be injected. This is the open platform. It was clear to us. We had to have a self-healing system, capacity optimization, and the last point, it was clear to them that they want to have a concept of service ops. So even though they are not using the BMC IDSM, it was clear to them that eventually, in order to operate better, the approach of service ops that BMC presented to them made so much sense to them. They said, okay, it has to be there. It has to integrate with my ITSM solutions. So these were, the critical capabilities. We mapped those to what would be the outcomes. Obviously, I will not share with you, the ROI, but we had ROI for everything. And we will measure that later on by doing the project to assure that the value, we are able to realize the value back with the customer.
Okay, so just as far as time check, I see we have about 8 more minutes. So maybe we can, like, in 3 minutes, we talk about a little bit of the positive impact that the project has had, and then maybe we can open it up to Q&A, or maybe show just a couple of screens of a demo.
Yeah, sure. So very, very fast about the impact that it had on the organization. So I would go really fast on this, because we managed to change very fast the paradigm of moving, from infrastructure-centric kind of solutions, plural, not one solution, many solutions, going to one platform, very service-centric. I will not have time to share with you this, although we have some slides about this. But the greatest thing that happened, we managed to go live in 6 weeks. It's crazy. I never done this before. Usually, project that I'm working in and we're providing in Matrix for observability, monitoring, automation, it's 6 months before you actually get anything. In this case, in 6 weeks, we were live, and the CIO had his console in place. So maybe I will have time to share with you what was the formula for doing that. But yeah, it's one platform in the cloud, which is also a huge challenge. Security, we managed to get across that in, once again, 6 weeks. And not just to implement, and connect to the cloud, actually have something like 100 services, 85 services, I would more to correct. 85 services were in the platform in a matter of 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, we had to do everything, to connect the systems, to map something, to get the events, and to actually create an observability console for the customer. It's something, I think, fantastic, really. I've never done.
Huge.
It's huge. I've never seen such a kind of a project before, and even for us, it was a big surprise. And eventually, centric approach, this AI and ML that are providing faster root cause analysis, is for them, eventually, the VP Technologies, this is what he really cares about. He wants to have faster innovation. And in order to faster innovate, you need to operate faster and to operate better. So they can innovate more with the confidence that they are not just providing services, but it's not always working. No, it has to work very, very good. in order for them to feel confident. And so I think this is the major impact. It's the service-centric, it's the business-centric, it's the fact that it's transparent, everyone in the organization, based on AI and ML and on the cloud. This is, I think, the big impact that we did in the organization. So we don't have much time, and I just want, maybe, I don't know, Yaron, what do you prefer? To talk just a few words about, how we made it in 6 weeks?
Yeah, let's talk about zero to hero.
Okay, good. So Yaron Ativ was with me.
Yeah.
He's the program manager of the project. So I kept you silence in most of the, I talked a lot.
Yeah, I tried to do it very, very short, just to talk about the project methodology. So I will not repeat everything that says already, but Shai talked a lot of the aggressive timelines we received from the CIO. And the only way to do it is by doing with agile methodology project. Because if we had chosen to work waterfall, the customer would have seen the products only after completing the design, the planning, and the implementation stages for the entire project, which would have taken many months. So the only task that we had to complete for the entire project is the architecture of the entire solution, but the rest of the project of the implementation was fully agile. That means working with a backlog of prioritized sub-products in each sprint, and actually deliver those sub-products at the end of the sprint. We planned with the customer only 2 sprints in advance, conducting daily meetings, a weekly managers meeting, and so on. And that gave us the flexibility of switching between sub-products and advance some other sub-products that when the CEO prioritizes it during the project. So to fulfill it, we first asked the customer to provide a list of 30 top businesses. Then we asked the customer to provide a list of all monitored URLs referred to the 30 business services, which reflect the business service unavailable. It will not, as Shai noted earlier, it will not tell the CIO anything about the root cause, but already gave him a high level of confidence when some of the most important business services went down. As I said, this is only for the first of the stage, and later on, of course, we fulfill all the other monitoring. So then we integrate events from the customer manager of managers, just to have the events for the URL unavailability. And we actually built an enrichment table for each URL to be attached to the referred business service when it's down. And then we build a flat map of a business service on the AIOps console and make sure that event is actually attached properly to the service. And the last task of this stage was adding additional application availability events, which considered as a bingo events, means that the service is actually done. So at the end, as Shai noted several times, at the end of this stage, which took us only 6 weeks from the onboarding task, the CEO received the service observability console.
And by the way, the fact that the CIO wanted this means that we got his sponsorship. That was great. And by the way, I can also add on top of this, something that it's happening all over the place for us, by the way, ever since we started working with Helix as an observability platform. The people that are interested in this kind of information in the organization, in the past, prior to Helix, it was a matter of the director of infrastructure, the operations manager. Those were the guys that we used to sell and work with and provide them our solutions. Ever since we moved to the observability approach or platform of Helix, actually we realized that this is something interesting for CIOs. They want this kind of a solution. And I think that this kind of a change is dramatic, because once the CIO wants a solution, he knows how to put the focus on that and assure that security and infrastructure will work fast enough for you to get connected to the cloud, get everything working and go live faster. When the king wants something, he gets it. So
yeah.
So again, just being mindful of the time, Shai. So maybe we can just move to Q&A. I do see one question that we have right now that's open. So Shai, the question I have here is, what would be your tip if I want, if whoever's asking this question wants to start their way on AI ops, what would be the first thing they should do, or what should they consider when they're selecting a vendor?
I think that when you say the word, the term AI ops, it's something, it's out there in the market for the past 8 years, I think, ever since Gartner said, first time
Yeah.
AI ops. And whenever I talk to customers, many of them will tell me, yeah, I already have my AI ops in place. And you ask them, okay, how do you do that? And they say, I have my Elasticsearch, I have Splunk, I have Zabbix. Everyone calls this solution AI ops, and tell them, okay, but it's not truly AI ops, because if you would look at how even Gartner defines AI ops, it has to be one data lake that actually supports different models of data. It's not just about logs. It's not just about metrics. It's not just about events. It's not just about incidents. It's not just about changes. It has to also have the context. You have to have the ability of understanding the context. So I think that the reason that we feel so comfortable working with BMC, and I think that our customers feel the same with us, is the fact that, first of all, BMC is providing one platform that is truly about AI ops, just like Gartner defines it, a multimodality in one data lake, that on top of which BMC is providing huge, really amazing capabilities based on AI and ML for faster resolution. So it's not just about collecting the data and putting that in a data store and saying, okay, I have my AI ops. What do you do with the data? So the algorithms, the sophistication, how smart are you with managing this data? I think that this is where BMC is providing a lot of value. It's not BMC is doing great work with that. It's not just about creating discovery to give you the context of what is the impact of everything, which is something that BMC is doing great with discovery. It's not just about Helix dashboard that tells you, okay, do whatever you want with your data, present it, however way you want it. It's not just about open telemetry or being an open platform. It's also about being able to work this and connect it also to the service management solution. Because if you are only about operations, you're missing the bigger picture. The bigger picture says that, changes that are happening and are managing your ITSM could be the root causes. Most often, they are the root cause. So I think that it's not just about AI ops, it's really about service ops. These are my 2 cents, maybe 3.
Thanks, Shai. So, again, just in the interest of time, let me turn it back over to Sam.
So we don't have any questions in the Q&A at the moment, and thank you for those that did actually make it onto this session. We are mindful that there was a problem with the registering, so we will be running another session, but we just need to go and plan for that. So I do want to give you the opportunity to ask us questions if you have any. I think, Stefan, you've just raised your hand, so if you want to come off mute. Can you hear us?
Stefan, you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you yet.
Can see he's
okay, I think Stefan may be having a little bit of an audio issue. Stefan,
no,
there you are.
We can hear it. Stefan, can you hear us? Sorry, we cannot hear you. You can hear us, most probably.
Okay, well, Stefan, you can just reach out to us directly, and we'll try to answer the question. Sorry, but we just can't hear the question.
Does anybody else have any questions? Just while we have Stefan trying to see if he can sort his audio out. Please feel free to come off mute and speak with the team, or drop something into the Q&A.
He just did.
Stefan already
okay,
said,
so Stefan has.
I just want to say thank you. It was very interesting and helpful.
Thank you very much,
Stefan.
Yeah, thank you. And I will reach out to everyone that did sign up just to send you another date. We've already discussed that we would love to be able to share it, and there were some demos as well we would like to share. So thank you for everyone that's managed to make it on here, and thank you to my co-presenter, Yaron, and also
Sam,
Matrix.
Sam, we do have a hand raised by
Devis. Devis, can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah.
Devis,
can you go off mute, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thanks.
No, thank you so much for the session. Actually, I joined a little late. I got because of the trouble was not able to join the session. Uh, but is there a possibility that you would be running the same one? Because there are some questionnaires which we still have. I really
Mhm.
wanted to understand on and especially like the last session which we had on the Gen AI part. I actually wanted to have those questionnaires. I didn't put it, but is there a possibility we would be having a similar kind of a sessions where we can actually cover both the pieces, like where it comes, like today we talked about the service ops and all, right? Like, so just to see how we can actually integrate these two things and then take it forward from the journey, sort of a thing, could be a very helpful one.
Well, that's a great idea. I think, yes, we will definitely put on the schedule running a kind of a joint session that's covering service ops. So service operations and IT operations management. So bring in AI ops, what you've seen before about Helix GPT. So yeah, we can, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah,
Thanks for
so
the
something.
suggestion.
Yeah, something like a kind of a use case or something, just to
Yeah,
take that journey forward, right? Like that can be a very good thing. I'm really interested to see that one, how we can actually.
brilliant. We'll absolutely do that.
We like
Yeah.
ideas.
And then, sorry,
I said we
I'm
we
so
like
sorry.
the ideas. No, it's really important that part of these sessions aren't just about what we think are the right things to share. There will be a survey that will come out. I do ask customers and partners to put their comments in, let us know if there's other sessions. So we'd be very grateful for that.
Okay, and another piece, sorry, but is there like the environment with the lab environment which we have, like as a partner, we do have a lab environment, and we try to create our own use cases. We're trying to do it, but at some point we are not able to fulfill the entire journey. We do have
Yeah,
some problems where we're not. So, is there a like some sort of a thing which you are doing it so that we can actually be able to generate those use cases within our lab and then be able to test them?
absolutely. Let me reach out to you after the session, and we can definitely set that up together.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the session. It was really good. Thank you.